Hello, it is I, Buford Marijuana, here today to present you with a ranking video. There is this one YouTuber who does ranking videos. That really does not narrow it down. Okay, there is a person on YouTube with a username, Biff Weed, who does ranking videos, mostly based around other YouTubers like Animation Rewind, and once or twice, people from Galaxy Video. I am unfamiliar with everything there except Animation Rewind, as you can obviously tell. Anyways, let's get started on these.
Duh!
The Rewind Rumble review is the first ranking review that Biff Weed did, it seems. He spends a bit at the beginning setting a lot of ground rules for the video, which is fine to help set up context. Then he pretty much does rate all of them in 10 words or less. He pretty much has to, otherwise, instead of being nearly 20 minutes long, it might be an hour or longer, and I do not know if I would feel like sitting through that. Then he gets into a few of them that he feels like he needs to give more specific context on, his 5 worst, then his 5 best. It is for the best that he only goes into specifics on a few of them. I honestly cannot tell you whether or not I 100% agree with his assessments because for me, even on this channel, Animation Rewind videos often blur together. Some of these videos I have watched. Most of these I have not. I did not even realize these were all part of one season until I heard rumblings of a season 2, which apparently has Raccoon Bro in it. The season seems to have kind of went on for too long. TV seasons in the UK go for like 6 episodes, and most US TV seasons do not even really go much past 20 for the most part, so the whole thing just makes my head spin a bit.
Big Chungus?
That'll hold them all right.
This is a follow-up to some video series about movies with versus in the title, aside from Grinch is a Cat in the Hat, and I suppose they also have to actually fight in it or at least some conflict approximating that. Anyways, I feel like taking a page from Shafrilla's with a little audio clips in between was a good idea to hook in sections and break up the monotony of the text-to-speech voice. I can basically agree with most of the assessments, and the rankings he gave really are a minor discrepancy for the most part. Even if there are movies I like or dislike more than he does, where he is coming from is pretty much understandable. This is a mostly decent video as far as these ranking videos, aside from the 2 dog wanker clips, which is 3 too many, and one was really a stretch, for a relating joke, even.
Fortnuts!
Whoever Biff Weed's runner-up best versus show is, insert obvious self-deprecating or self-praising joke here. Anyways, the bonus episodes are not something I really paid attention to, which adds insult to injury on Biff Weed's statement towards the beginning about bonus episodes, making animators feel bad by making their episodes seem like they do not count. Not to mention that there is not really anything separating them in terms of quality from a lot of the regular episodes, as far as I can tell. The rankings and reasoning behind them make sense, but at the same time, a lot of content from AR ends up being white noise for me, unfortunately.
Looks like Drew Pickles won, and here's why.
CVC is not really a good versus show. The creator of the show would agree with me. Hell, they are like 2 or 3 versus shows past it, so it is understandable why they would not really view it as their best work. As for Biff Weed's video on it, some things are here that I disagree on. For some reason, his least favorite episode ranks higher for me than his favorite episode, though that may just be because I find Barney the dinosaur in a versus show funnier than the dog wanker, who I am just jaded by at this point. Aside from that, since most of the episodes are of similar quality to each other, with marginal improvements later on, I can really only base my own ranking if I were to do one on my interest in the characters. That said, there are other versus shows to watch, even from the same creators. So if I wanted to go back, I have a lot more options than to watch this one, which is just kind of blandly low quality at this point, though, as Biff Weed points out, there are still worse. For the video, I think the later addition of audio clips to break them up in other videos is better than the occasional fading in images, especially for added comedy potential, even if that comedy can be hit or miss.
I said, what's gotten into you? He said, my dick.
Goodness gracious, the amount of Animation Rewind videos is staggering. Luckily, this video is short and sweet. Okay, maybe not sweet, but at least not coma-inducing. My thoughts on this is like a lot of AR content, repetitive. I have no thoughts on this that I do not pretty much have about the other AR ranking videos and AR videos in general. Animation Rewind content is like an advent calendar, but with 28 of the chocolates already having been eaten or replaced with a piece of paper. Trying not to be too over the top insulting with a metaphor. The fact that AR did enough sense fights for this to be a valuable video is mostly really sad. You did not have to watch the AU videos, man. You could have saved yourself a lot of work. Pretty much any of the AU Sans characters are worthless to spend mental capacity on. Sorry, kids. The video is nearly 20 minutes long, making it a bit of a doozy, but the added audio clips, again, do at least spice it up a bit. Some of them are funnier than their use in the Best versus Movie follow-up, though 52 goddamn entries probably gives you more opportunities, though it can also dull the senses. The in-betweens devolving into insulting dog wanker almost makes up for his previous overuse in Mr. Weed's videos. But some of the other clips still devolve into cringe. And yet some of what could be considered cringe still ends up funny to me. Your mileage may vary. Again, AR content blurs together a lot, especially when the exact same character is being used enough times to fill 2 or 3 seasons worth of a show. This is not the fault of Biff Weed, but it can make for some mind-numbing content. Finding out about some of the baffling matchups AR has done is, well, baffling. However, compared to a lot of the other AR ranking videos, the somewhat improved formatting helps make it rank above the other AR ranking videos. That said, although there are better qualities to this video, the subject matter of Best versus Movie follow-up is more interesting to me, hence why I may end up ranking it higher. I cannot decide on a definite audio clip, so instead you get this.
Brown piss.
This is honestly the most legitimate thing Biff Weed has ranked so far. And it's honestly the perfect length for something like this. Somewhere around 10 to 20 minutes is good for covering a decent amount of ground, but it does not wear out its welcome like hearing about all 5,000 Waldi.exe versus Error Inc. Swap Orochi Super Saiyan Level 45 Mecha Reverse Dark Combo. Breaker Surprise Egg Spider-Man shoves a needle up Elsa's ass, bloody nose, broken leg, broken dick, half vit, quarter vit, no vit, feline, canine, little cat dog, and the tiger poster AU Sans fights that AR has done. Nothing about his rankings are questionable, especially given it's a personal list and not an objectively ranked one. Even with Black Widow vs Widowmaker, he understands his bias and why people would not like it as much as he would. All of what he criticizes and praises about most of the fights makes sense, and most of it that does not involve spider-named women with guns, I can agree with. The only other thing I can really point out is that the video sort of ends abruptly, but I cannot really think of what else he could have done to make it seem more like an ending, and at least it does not cut off mid-sentence.
I think you've been watching too many cartoons.
The best live-action cartoon movie is a video series that may or may not be cancelled. But regardless, Biff Weed did some data mining and found a planned DLC list for this game, and thus, he has enough to go over with regards to the ones he actually wanted to watch. My only real disappointment here is that he did not watch Popeye, which was like the first one of these that they actually did, but oh well. I am also surprised you watched Casper over a lot of the ones that you did not watch, but oh well, once again. Again, I will say that while my personal opinions could probably result in certain things shuffled around slightly, I have no qualms with a list as is. What I do have qualms with is Biff using the clip I wanted to use for the Best versus Movie in this for Looney Tunes, back in action. Oh well, for the third time. I still used it, anyways. As for what I think you should rank next, based on the choices you gave at the end, I feel like any of them would be alright, but the Finding Nemo ripoffs could be new ground that we have not seen much of yet, but a lot of them could be mind-numbing. The Adam Sandler movies could provide a decent mix of quality and movies that would be entertaining to criticize, at least. Detective Conan probably gives the highest amount of actual quality overall. It is your call, really.
His name is Robert Paulson.
It turns out that the next ranking is actually back to Animation Rewind. Oh goody. But it is actually good that for once we are highlighting the diamonds in the rough when it comes to versus movies, this versus show. I would say most of the episodes look okay, but nothing that involves MLG versus SMG4 would rank anywhere near my top anything, although it looks like the best possible version of whatever that could be, to be fair. In general, Biff Weed points out where these episodes excel, where AR episodes usually do not. The animations, analysis, and/or storytelling is better than the usual meme slapfests. The number one is surprising, but as far as internet joke fight things, it is much better than the norm.
Once Milli Vanilli sock puppets are revealed for what they are, everyone will fuck.
The ironic part of the video, I can take or leave. When he actually starts talking about the episodes in better detail and goes over their pros and cons are solid and gives a good examination of what a DS show's episodes can do and can be, while also giving good compliments to his froggy friend. Like the Weed Avocado says, Cage Fight ended up better than CVC, at least towards the end. However, while the video compares the two, when I compare this video to the CVC video and a few of the other show rankings, I find myself having less new to say here, as I have already basically said a lot of what I can say. I do not like being cursed as much. Or do I? I think the genuine critiques are well reasoned. Ranking a bunch of ranking lists is a weird thing, because there are only so many ways you can talk about content that is already talking about other content. It is a weird thing to try and do.
My little monkey jumping on the bed.
Basically everything I say about this Season 6 ranking applies here, just about. I will say that this season may possibly have higher highs for me, but neither had an episode that I outright hated, just ones that were somewhat flawed and disappointing in execution, especially here being something like Raven vs Twilight, and the more he points out the flaws about Thanos vs Darkseid, the more I agree. But that episode is cathartic for me, so I probably appreciate it more than some. I am disheartened to see the return of Dog Wanker, as I had thought we had left it behind. Have you no decency? Have you no shame? This is a short video about silent short films from the 1900s. I cannot say much about this since it is so short, but imagine some film historian or student trying to study the early days of film and coming across this meme-filled video. That may be one of the only funny things involving such meme fests. Oof. That is a bit of a 1-0 situation. But as far as the video besides that goes, I think it is interesting, if only for that it is a subject matter nobody would have expected. But since they are such short movies, there is not much to say. The theory of why the series ended, though, is interesting. I will not spoil it for you.
Doesn't that make you want to fucking kill them? Doesn't that make you want to say,
shut the fuck up, Whitey. God damn it. Why do you always gotta ruin things?
This is not quite a ranking video, aside from very near the end, but it is still an entertaining video celebrating an entertaining series. No words can describe this, although my only gripe with the video is that during the time, a gag would have been low-hanging fruit. You moron. You fucking moron. You absolute fucking moron. You dipshit. I fucked your wife. For now, our last ranking review from Biff Weed is a more straightforward one, that being the movies based around the Detective Conan anime and manga series. I have not seen nearly as many as Biffy Fries or Frogger Pal Region, but I can say that from what I have seen, Detective Conan is a nicely done series, and what Biff says in this video is all valid, and it is interesting to see more film-related content from Biff Weed. It seems like it could have broader appeal if Biff is interested in that. I read all of these out of order, so I am going to do the reverse of Biff Weed's earlier videos and give my ranking entries in 10 words or less. 14. Animation Rewind Halloween Specials. In one ear, out the other, with Animation Rewind. 13. Rewind Rumble. Some interesting formatting, but obviously the first one. 12. Rewind Rumble bonus episodes. Shorter, but still not as interesting. 11. TV Season 5. Lower rank, because Dog Wanker and not as novel. 10. CVC ranking. Where are Bateman, Vane, and Sandler? 9. Sans ranking. Maybe it's the way you're dressed. 8. Cage Fight. At least I'm not made of paper. 7. Cartoon Fight Club's best. Best animation rewind ranking, I guess. 6. Uncle Josh. Interesting because the subject matter is out of the ordinary. 5. 8 Crazy Fights. Hello, and welcome back to 8 Crazy Fights. 4. Best live-action cartoon movie follow-up. Good look at this subject. Unfortunately cancelled. 3. Best VS movie follow-up. Probably not the best, but not Animation Rewind. 2. Detective Conan movies. Film content seems more universal. 1. Death Battle Season 6. Well, Kanto hasn't always been this glam. Okay, that is it for now. Maybe a follow-up after this for Biff Weed's later rankings, but then that is the same joke again. See you guys all later, stay safe, and have a happy April 1st.
I said, what's gotten into you? He said, my dick is shiny.